Hello, I'm Ryan. I used to be a Walking Dead fanatic. Maybe I got this too close to my mouth. I used to be a Walking Dead fanatic. I no longer am. I mean, I am. I love The Walking Dead, but it is not my center focus anymore. It used to be. I read all of the comics, including, uh, what? Maybe two of the Walking Dead novels, The Fall of the Governor. I read Negan's comic, and I mean, I've got all of them right here. I want to talk about major events that happened in the show that were different, or like impactful moments that were in the show that were vastly different in the comics. The first one that comes to mind that is earliest that I can remember, because it's been 3.5 years since I've read these comics, and it's been a whole 2 years since I've watched The Walking Dead. I did watch The Ones Who Live, the only spin-off show that I did, because I love Rick and Michonne. But let's start with Shane. Rick did not kill Shane. I'll put that out there now. He banged Lori right after the bombs dropped on Atlanta. He was hurt because he really wanted Lori and Carl for himself. But that was the problem, is that when Rick came back, he no longer had them. So he was very upset, obviously. And Lori was like, Shane, we can't do this anymore. My husband's back. I don't want him finding out. Shane was understandably unhappy. But he did kind of lose himself. And that was the problem, is not that Shane... To me, this is what I think about both comics and show that I disagree with a lot of fans, is that it's not that Shane was ahead of the game. It's that he was not a good guy. He did die because of his own actions. It was a lot different in the comics with how he started to want to kill Rick. But in the show, specifically, he killed that Mexican guy. And that was when, that's when I think it was obvious that he is not right in the head. And you may say what you want about Shane being with it. I just saw Michael Fassbender in the background. Sorry, off track. That is when I knew that Shane kind of lost his mind. In the comics, it was more of a tension that was a little bit, to me, it's been a while since I've read these. I don't know if I put a disclaimer, but it may be not the entire story. So I recommend reading the comics. They're very good, but very disturbing. And the sun is going behind the clouds. I prefer the comics over the show, I'll say it. But with Shane, he died after he pulled a shotgun. I'm like 90% sure, a shotgun on Rick in the forest, woods, either way. And Rick was like, brother, don't do this. And right before Shane was going to shoot Rick, because that's when Shane kind of went off, just like in the show, about how he deserved Lori over him, Carl shot him dead. Rick didn't even shank him. Carl shot very alive Shane and killed him. Next major or impactful moment is when in the show, Rick meets the governor. I'm not sure if it's when they were drinking whiskey together. I can't remember. But that is very different from the comics, because one, they didn't even have whiskey together. They didn't even sit down together. The governor in the comics had a gladiator type game where he would put two people together to fight. I don't think it was to the death. I don't remember. And while this was happening, he had a few zombies chained up to posts to increase the tension. So if you got too close to the edge, a zombie could bite you or grab you and put you at a disadvantage. Rick saw this in the comics and saw the governor and all of his people enjoying it, and he was like, oh my god, these people are crazy. Genuinely. Why would this be entertaining anywhere? Why do you think we got rid of these gladiator games? This is weird. Especially with zombies. You think these things are playthings? That's exactly what he thought. And let's just say the tensions got crazy fast. Michonne and Glenn were there. They got taken away. And Rick got his hand cut off by the governor. That was the way that they met. Very different in the show. But that leads into the next impactful moment, is when in the show, I'm not lying when I tell you the comics are very disturbing, very gory, and very inappropriate. Okay? In the show, Maggie gets sexually assaulted by the governor. And because Glenn was not there when it happened, that was his biggest regret, is that he couldn't have stopped it from happening. While in the comics, it wasn't Maggie. Sorry to break the news to you. It wasn't Maggie. It was Michonne. And Glenn and Michonne were put into two different, I think it was storage sheds. Storage sheds or garages, but there was multiple of them, so I think they were storage places. Michonne was tied by her wrists to the ceiling, and her ankles were tied to the wall, so she was kind of hovering off the ground. She was, trigger warning, she was raped, and she was abused. And Glenn was there, and he was forced to listen to that. And it was so bad that he peed himself. And the governor let him go. Not because he felt bad, but because he's like, tell your people, don't mess with me. In the show, she had revenge against the governor, but it was way less gruesome. I'll put that out there. Way less gruesome. While the governor in the comics, this is the comics, while the governor was feeding his daughter, zombie, still zombie, she snuck into his apartment and, okay, it's pretty gross, and scooped his eye out with it. And this is how she was going to torture him for everything that he did to her. And she used her katana. It was way more than that, too. I just can't remember all of it. She did a lot to him. Left him half dead. She thought he was dead. He wasn't. Another story. Another one that I can remember is Terminus. This one is my favorite to tell. That did not happen in the comics at all. What happened is Rick and the gang, after the prison fell, which that's a whole nother thing. What the heck? I'll talk about that one afterward. They went through this neighborhood, and this is how I remember it. So it may be a little bit different, but this is how it went down ultimately. One other people went missing, and Rick was like, "Where's Dale?" Dale was still alive. He was dating Andrea. And he lost his leg. Hershel didn't lose his leg. It was Dale. Mind you, Dale was getting eaten. His other leg was getting eaten by the cannibals. The cannibals have lived in a house in the neighborhood, and there was only about, I think, 8 or 12 of them. Maybe a little bit less. And they would pick people off who went through the neighborhood. Rick is like, give us Dale and we won't kill you. It happened somewhat like that. And so they did. And they're like, we won't do it again, man. Trust. And Dale told them, hey, I'm tainted meat, by the way, when they were eating him. So, of course, they're like, take your stupid guys. Take your stupid old guy. We don't want to eat him. He's tainted meat. He's bitten. He told us that. And Rick was like, well, I hope you guys die. He mogged a lot, okay? Comic book Rick was merciless, okay? He was not like show Rick. Comic book Rick went through a lot to the point of where you felt his pain. My buddy Rick was going through it a lot, okay? He could mog whenever he want. Who cares? He deserves it. They found out that they ate Dale's leg, and Rick went buck wild. Rick is like, you, Andrea, come with me. And then you, Abraham, come with me. And when we're done, get the group. Tell them to come with us. Because I got plans for these people. And so he went back by himself. Andrea was hiding in the bushes. Abraham was hiding in the bushes too. Rick said, I'm alone. And I just want to talk about what you did. Because I hope you know you will die. And I will make you watch your people die. And what was that guy's name? Daniel? I don't know. Derek? Bareth? Gareth. I don't know. He was like, "You're gonna do what? You in what army?" And then Rick was like, huh, "Show him your stuff, Andrea." And she just blasted that guy's fingers off. And he was like, "Oh, I believe you. Oh my God." So Rick called upon his gang to restrain every single one of those cannibals against a wall, the back of the house. And mind you, Priest Man was there. Gabriel, yeah. He was really, if you thought he was annoying in the show in the beginning, he is real annoying in the comics. He was like, "Rick, I'm going to tell everyone that meets you that you are a disgusting psychopath." Mind you, I don't blame him for what he said, because Rick quite literally forced the leader of the cannibals to watch him gut and dismember all of his people one at a time on a picnic table. So, yeah, you know what, Gabriel? I get you. But that was kind of like, you go, Rick. But at the same time, you need some medicine, dude. You need to get medicated, because you are one angry fellow. So that happened. How the prison went down was very similar, except Lori didn't die giving birth to Judith. This might be a shocker for people, but Judith didn't live very long. Lori gave birth to Judith, and shortly after, the governor attacked the prison, and she was running with baby Judith in her arms out of the prison behind Carl and Rick. And a girl named Lily, the Walking Dead novels are about Lily. I'm like 90% sure. Everything's fine. But in the comics, when Lori was running, Lily had a shotgun and shot her. And it blew Lori's intestines out. And Lori, right on top of baby Judith. So Judith was crushed underneath Lori, and she was so disgusted with her actions, because she didn't know that Lori was a mother who had a baby with her. She didn't see Judith wrapped in her arms. She turned on the governor, shot him with the shotgun. I mean, come on. Another big change that I can remember is who dies. In the show, it was Hershel who got his head chopped off. In the comics, it was Tyrese. That made my heart hurt a lot, because Tyrese was such a guy, you know? He was a guy. He was a guy, and I liked him in the comics. In the show, he was 10 times the man that Tyrese in the comics was. But either way, Tyrese was such a dude, if you catch my drift. He was not a very good guy. I could get into that. I don't know if I should. I'm already 23 minutes into this, but I might. But since we're on the topic of Tyrese, I might as well just let you know that Carol was a very, very disturbed character in the comics. She was at the oldest 25. She was a young woman who had the abusive husband. I forgot his name. But in the prison era, Carol was in a intimate relationship with Tyrese. She was struggling the entire time she was alive. And her final straw was when she went looking for Tyrese and saw Michonne gawking on the little Reese in the gym. And Carol couldn't do it anymore, so she slit both of her wrists in front of Sophia and tried to die. It didn't work. So there was she did eventually. How did she die? Dang, I can't remember. And Tyrese was so upset about what happened, he couldn't bang Michonne no more. Which, I guess character development. What? That's a big difference to Carol in the show. I'll do one more comparison because this video is 25 minutes long. Going real deep in my memories right now. You can also just leave comments asking, because I know Rick and Michonne are not a thing in the comics. It's actually Rick and Andrea. She was awesome. Her and Rick, power couple, okay? Power couple. Michonne was more of Rick's, like, how do I put it? She helped Rick in hard times. They were very good friends. But she never thought of Rick that way. But I know a lot, and you can leave comments asking, and I will definitely let you know. Peep my Fallout cup. Maybe Fallout content will appear.